Here, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Vaughn, and as you can see, we back in the closet. That means we back for another episode of Vaughn's Closet. And as you saw the title, we're about to get into the history of them UVs, them underbrims, undervisors, whatever you want to call them, you know what I mean? But we about to run down the history of the underbrims, you heard? If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Like the video, comment down below. Subscribing definitely helps the algorithm, it helps the channel grow. You can unsubscribe at any time and it's completely free to do. So please consider pressing that subscribe button down below. If you haven't watched last week's video, go watch that as well. I ran down my top 10 sneakers of 2021. And if you haven't watched the video before that, go watch that as well. I'm gonna try to push out as much content as possible for 2022. And like I said, so we about to run down the history of the underbrim. Everybody is in the fitteds these days. But how many of y'all really know the reason why the underbrims are the color that they are and everything like that? You know what I mean? So that's what we're about to explain today for those who don't know. If you do already know, let me know in the comments of your knowledge of the underbrim history. And like I said, if you're not familiar, stay tuned. I got you. So we're going to start right from the beginning, man. We're going to go take it all the way back to the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Specifically the 70s and the 80s though, right? So if you go back to the 70s and 80s, for those who don't know, underbrims for fitteds back then were green. Fitteds like this, you know what I mean? You see the Yankee for the 75th World Series. They had the green underbrim. This is exactly how the fitted would have looked in that World Series. It would have had the, I don't know if this patch was actually on the hat, but this is definitely how it would have looked. If anything, it would have been a, you know what I mean, a Navy Yankee with that green brim. And the reason being, so if you take it back to the 80s, which pull up this article for you. So I pulled up this article from hatrealm.com that I found, you know what I mean, just to help back up what I'm saying. But pretty much it says that in the 1980s, the mainstream belief until the 1980s was that green is more restful on the eyes. So essentially they had the underbrim being green to essentially assist the baseball players in the field, you know what I mean, when they catch and pop flies on a sunny day, or just help them try to maintain the sunlight and make it easier for them to essentially do what they're doing out there in the field, you know what I mean? So it says the mainstream belief until the 1980s was that green is more restful in the eyes, but it turned out that gray does a better job of absorbing the glare than green. So new era started to make green and gray undervisors and gave baseball teams the option to choose. From the 70s through the 80s, underbrims were, like I said, green, you know what I mean? Where my other green brim at? Again, green. You know what I mean? And you can tell what the underbrim color should have been based off the patch. So you see this patch? 1959 All-Star Game patch. So in the 50s, the underbrims were still green. You know what I mean? The 75th World Series, the underbrim was green. And the 75th World Series took place, I'm gonna let you know right now. 75th World Series took place in 1978. So like I said, pretty much, I guess from the 50s to the 80s, the underbrims were green. You know what I mean? The reason being was because, like I said, people believe that the green underbrim helped with the players' eyesight and was more restful on the eyes to make their job easier while they're out there in the field and everything like that. You feel me? Fast forward to the 90s, it says in the late 90s, most teams switched to gray, with the Cincinnati Reds being the first team to make that transfer. So again, we go from the 60s, 70s, and 80s where we had the green bottoms. We go into the 90s where the gray brim switched up. You know what I mean? The gray brims came. You feel me? We get to the 90s where we get the gray brims. You know what I mean? Gray bottoms. You know what I mean? So Yankee fitted, 1999 World Series, gray bottom. Los Angeles joint, anniversary patch, well, got a gray bottom. Majority of those fitteds in the 90s was gray, because that's what New Era was pushing out. If you was in New York in the 90s, or just go back and look at, I don't know, old rap videos, look at Dipset and all the New York rappers, they had gray brims on, you know what I mean? All the videos, everything like that, they was all gray brims for the most part. You probably had a couple of green bottoms in there just because New Era was probably still producing them, but gray bottom was what was transferred to, and that was the on-field fitted for the 90s was the gray bottom. So that's where the gray bottom came after the green bottom, you know what I mean? And essentially was the most popular fitted, you know what I mean, up until recently, which is what I'm about to get into. The gray bottom was, it was no more, I mean, we didn't want to do black nasties, you know what I mean? It was gray bottom or nothing. Like I said, I'm gonna get into that as well. 60s to 70s was the 60s, 60s to the 80s was the green brims. And then from the 90s until the early 2000s was the gray. And from the gray is where we got After the gray and from into the early 2000s is where them black nasties came. And if you know and you were part of the fitted community, you know black nasties is a no-go. No-go on the black nasties, you feel me? We do not rock with black nasties. You can find them in your local lids, your local champs. They still out there because that's the on-field fitted for present day is the black nasty. But in the fitted community, if you wearing a black nasty, you being looked at sideways, my guy. You being looked at sideways. So currently, but like I said, same situation. So the article says in 2007, New Era made another change to their undervisor colors and went black. Again, the primary reason was to reduce the strain on the player's eyes. This change and other improvements in material and design made the hats more comfortable and performance ready. All the changes of the undervisor color from the 60s until the early 2000s and up until a couple years ago really was all for the performance of the player on the field to make the sunlight more easier to deal with, you know what I mean, when they're playing. Because if you ever play baseball, you playing outfield, center field, left field, right field, and you're going to catch that pop fly and that sun's in the way, it could be, you know what I mean, it makes it hard to, you know what I mean, to catch the pop fly, you know what I mean. If you play baseball, you understand. But if not, it's common sense anyway. But yeah, so I guess again, just to give it run down the timeline. 60s to 80s, green bottom. 90s, gray bottoms. Early 2000s to the mid 2000s, black nasties. And then that's when we get into present day, when all the fitted craze came back crazy and everybody started losing their mind. And like I said, the fitted hype got to where it is today, to people wearing fitteds like this with them pink brims, as you can see. Now we about to explain where the pink brim came up. So we're going to go to hatclub.com. That's where I'm at right now. The history of the pink bottom fitted. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to run down the whole article. I'm going to read a paragraph or two to explain it for those who don't know. So apparently, well, long story less long, it essentially started with, I'll just read the paragraph. I'll make this quick. Cold New York winter day back in February 2019, Preem, who is apparently a rapper from Brooklyn, Frosty Preem, Preem paid a regular visit to the NoHo Hat Club shop with an idea in his head, and after giving it a significant amount of thought, he pitched the idea to Justin, which is a designer at Hat Club. He pitched the idea that he said, I want to make a 1996 Yankees hat. I don't got one down here, but a 1996 Yankee hat with a pink bottom. I want to make a 1996 Yankee hat, but with a pink bottom. The concept was a combination of the 1996, the year the Preem was born, but also the pink was to honor, I don't want to misquote this, to honor his mother who passed of breast cancer. So like I said, long story less long, essentially it came together from a rapper from Brooklyn and an employee at the Hat Club shop, essentially coming together, taking the concept of trying to combine the 1996 Yankees fitted with the pink bottom to commemorate Preem's mother passing of breast cancer, putting those two ideas together, and that's what birthed the pink bottom, the pink brim. Pink brims first dropped, I remember it was lines outside the Hat Club, it was lines outside the Cap USA. Like the pinky drop was like a real big deal. They were treating them like a pair of J's. Like pinkies was flipping for mad bread, hat was dropping for $60, they was flipping for $120 plus. You feel me? So the pink bottom wave really is what started this sneaker collecting, I think, to be honest, because people was, I mean, fitteds was always a thing. Like I post on my Instagram all the time of me wearing fitteds forever. But I don't think it got super crazy or to where it is today until the pink brim drops. And that's when the pink brim, you know what I mean, birthed stuff like this. You know what I mean? A Hat Club exclusive. You see the red background on the diamondback and then the red bottom. So the pink bottom is what birthed this whole color undervisor wave, you know what I mean, that we see today. Stuff like this with the red brim, stuff like this with the baby blue brim. All of that started once these drops, you feel me? Once these dropped, once the pink brims came out, you know what I mean? That's when all of this started, to my knowledge at least. Let me know in the comments if you know, if you saw like pink bottoms and like color crazy undervisors before the pink brim dropped in 2019. Now, I know like in the early 2000s, like if you remember like the pinwheel fitteds and everything like that. So a pinwheel fitted, if you don't know, it was like a fitted, but it was like everything was cut up, every panel was cut up, and it was like different colors. So it's like one panel will be black, other panel will be white, or it would be the colors of like the specific baseball, football, or basketball team. Like I said, go watch that old Dipset video. You're gonna see exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Dipset. Come on.
You know what I mean? Dipset was the king of that shit, I feel like. You know what I mean? Or just New York rappers in general, but Dipset specifically. Go watch an old Dipset video. You're going to see exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to the pinwheel fitteds and all the different types of fitteds and the gray bottoms being so crazy, you know what I mean? But thing is though, some of these fitteds, in my opinion, like some fitteds just should only have a certain color underbrim. Like whenever you see this patch, the 75th World Series patch, it should only ever have a green bottom, in my opinion, because it's like, this is like the OG version of the fitted. It's like, this is like a pair of bread ones, you feel me? This is like the official OG version of the hat that was actually worn or used in the 1978 World Series, you know what I mean? Now, Yankee, okay, different variation of the hat, same patch, but the baby blue underbrim, like this would have been cool if it still had the green bottom, you feel me? Like if this had the green bottom, this would be equivalent to like, I don't know, like a Jordan 1 OG high that's still with the OG cut of the Jordan 1, but it's just a different colorway, you know what I mean? So it's like a non-OG colorway. So it's like, if this had the green bottom, this would be like a, I don't know, like a Jordan 1 mocha or some shit, you feel me? Like the OG cut of the shoe for the most part, but a different colorway, you know what I mean? This is a 1999 Yankee fitted, you know what I mean? It's not navy, but at least it got the gray bottom, you feel me? It's not navy, it's just the orange Yankee, but at least it got the gray bottom, you feel me? So it's like, to me, certain fitteds should still like be like OG to the fullest, you know what I mean? Like a lot of these variations and two-tone fitteds are cool, but that's why some people might think my fitted collection is super plain, because it's a lot of like OG and like generic ass colorways. I don't really delve too deep into like the crazy color undervisors. I'm pretty much gray and green, and I got a few pinks of these joints like this. Like, but majority of my collection, go watch my full fitted collection video right here if you haven't already. I dropped that at the end of 2021, but majority of my collection is gray and green bottoms. So green bottoms are my favorite just because I just think the green sets the fitted off so crazy. For me, it goes green, gray, pink, and then all the other stuff is down below. It's like the fitted would have to be really, really crazy for me to like want to go out and get like a fitted with like a purple brim or an orange brim or a yellow brim. For the most part, like I will acknowledge it, but okay, yeah, that fitted is hard, but give me that green brim over there. Give me that gray brim right there. Oh, okay, that pink brim is hard. I can, you know what I mean? I can mess with that one, but green, gray, a few pink, and more times than not, I'm not going to dive into the other stuff. To each his own. That's where the fitted game is at right now. But I just want to give y'all a history of the underbrim game, because a lot of people don't really know that, like I said, the early fitteds was all green bottoms, and then the 90s is where the gray brims came, and then the 2000s was the black nasties, and then after 2019 is when everything just went to the moon. You know what I mean? As far as, like I said, the pinks and every other color undervisor you could think of. Let me know in the comments, man, what you think of the fitted games, where it is right now, how you feel about it. Are you into fitteds? Are you starting to collect fitteds? Are you trying to collect fitteds? If you're new to the fitted game, go watch this video right here, which is my top 5 fitted websites to buy fitteds from, so you can get your collection started. With all that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you made it to the end of the video, again, please consider subscribing. It's free, doesn't cost anything. You can subscribe at any time, unsubscribe at any time, but subscribing does help me, helps the channel grow, helps me get seen by more people. Please consider liking the video. Like I said, sound off in the comments and let me know all your feedback about the fitteds, about what you like, what you dislike, what's your favorite color undervisor. And yeah, feel free to DM me on Instagram as well, but please comment down below as preferred. And without further ado, I'm gonna holler at y'all. It's your boy Vaughn with Vaughn's Closet, and I'm gonna see y'all. Peace and love always.